Hello, folks. This is William B. Stringer Sr., aka, or also known as Grandpa. And maybe you remember my previous book that I shared with you, Puppy. I want to share a part of another book that I wrote. What's in there? Don't Go to the John. By me. It's a good, scary story for young adults and older folk too, like me. And it's one of those books that you can read while you're on a trip, and it's fun, but it's scary. What's in there? You can get it at Amazon, or maybe if you email me, you can get it from me at wbstringer641@gmail.com. And I'll even autograph the book for you. But anyway, I want to share a bit of this story with you. And I'm going to tell you, don't look over your shoulder because somebody might be watching. So here we go. What's in there? Don't Go to the John. Chapter 1. Everybody saw it. That bright flash of light in the sky. Even little Ronny. Ronny was a young boy, 12 years old. Ronny had been born without the ability to talk. At least that was what his parents thought, since he had not spoken a word since he was born. Ronny had a little sister, Janice, who was 5 years old. She looked up to her big brother, Ronny, who she had tried really hard to speak for whenever he needed to communicate with his parents. Janice seemed to know what was on Ronny's mind when he needed something. Ronny had seen the bright light that flashed across the sky, and the people in their small town also had seen it. But no one knew for sure what the light was or where it came from. It was big news on all the television stations in their small town of 2,000 people. Of course, there was only 2 TV stations in the small town that always competed, those TV stations, always competed to outreport the other. And the one newspaper, with its one reporter and its editor, wanted to be the first to report any news that occurred in this town. Happening was a small town where nothing exciting or unusual seemed to ever happen in Happening. Happening was situated on 100 square miles in the Midwest. But that did not matter. For what everyone had seen in the sky that day would have an impact on the lives of everyone in the United States if something had not been done to stop the events that would soon occur. Ever since that day that the sky was lit up by the mysterious ball of fire, things began to change for the town of Happening. People began to suddenly disappear. One moment, you might see one of the citizens of Happening, and the next moment, they just vanished from sight. Most people did not understand what was happening to their friends and family. It just happened that when a person went somewhere alone, they never came back. And these were people that you could always count on to be at home or at their businesses. They were people who would never leave their families or places of employment without telling someone where they were going. Meanwhile, there was something else that the people did not know. The flash of light that had appeared in the sky on that fateful day did not land. It had landed later on in the countryside where the town's water purification system was located. Not only was the water filtration system on that site, but also the main sewage system had an exit pipe where the sewage was deposited. Boy, that sounds yucky, doesn't it? The occupant of what was thought to be just a ball of fire or bright flash of light was the pilot of an alien vessel. This strange, mushy occupant needed a place to land and, most importantly, a source of nourishment. That source of nourishment would be whoever or whatever the alien could come upon to satisfy its need to survive. And Earth had an ample supply of aliens' food requirements. Ronny and Janice were playing in the house one day when their dad decided to take care of a little business. The Blunt family lived in a 2-story home that had indoor plumbing, but most or at least half of the inhabitants of Happening were not as fortunate as the Blunt family. The Blunt family had a bathroom with a shower and a bathtub and a toilet inside the house as well. Half of the inhabitants of Happening had indoor baths, but most only had outhouses. Those are those places where you go outside to take care of your business. When Daddy Blunt went to take care of his business, something strange happened. You see, Daddy Blunt always would hum a tune when he went into the bathroom to take care of his business. But when Mama Blunt did not hear her husband humming his favorite tune, she decided to call out his name. But there was no answer from Daddy Blunt. Mama Blunt thought that maybe Daddy Blunt had not heard her call out his name. So she tried to make sure that he would hear her the second time by calling out his name in a louder voice. But still, no answer. Mama Blunt went upstairs and knocked on the bathroom door, but still no answer. So she slowly turned the doorknob on the bathroom door and gently pushed the door open. To her surprise, there was no one in the bathroom. Mama Blunt ran down the stairs to where Ronny and Janice were playing to ask them if they had seen or had heard their father leave the house. No, Mama, both indicated. We did not see nor hear Daddy leave the house. Mama Blunt searched every room in the house, but Daddy Blunt was nowhere to be found. She then called out for him outside the house, but still no answer. A week went by, and still no Daddy Blunt. He was not to be found anywhere. But what was even more strange was that several individuals in the town of Happening were also missing. One moment, a person would be talking to someone, and then after a brief leave to take care of some personal business, they disappeared. No one seemed to know why. Why, when a person said that they would be back in a minute or two, they were never seen again. Although 12-year-old Ronny could not talk, he had an uncanny knack for figuring out things that others were not able to figure out. Although Ronny could not talk, he could hear. He was a very bright young man. Ronny's ability to mimic the actions of the detectives that he dreamed of becoming was uncannily rare for a boy his age. Ronny had heard the buzz around town of what was happening. He would hang out at the local barber shop or grocery store to hear the men and women talk about what was going on in their small town. And what Ronny learned that was consistent was that missing person, male or female, had taken a break to go to the bathroom, never to be seen again. It did not matter whether it was an outhouse or inside the house bathroom, people would simply disappear. So Ronny decided to investigate on his own. It was easier to observe as someone entered an outhouse than to ask permission to observe those who had an in-house bathroom. Ronny would watch as a person entered an outhouse and then exit. Most would enter the outhouse, stay for a brief time, and then exit. Sometimes a person might stay in the outhouse for a longer time than others. This would cause Ronny a bit of anxiety. But once they came out, Ronny felt better. One day, as Ronny was investigating, he saw a man enter an outhouse. The man seemed very jovial as he hummed a tune and entered the outhouse. You could still hear the man as he settled down and continued to hum. But suddenly, there was a swoosh sound, and the humming immediately stopped. Well, right now, folks, I'm going to stop and hope that you can get this book, and maybe I'll read more of it on tomorrow. But hopefully you enjoy what you heard so far. Be seeing you. Grandpa checking out.